All right, do you understand how we get the 5 there? Slow?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go over this. So when you have this one, we just talk about a prime factorization. That's what you need to do. 125, you can write it 5 times 25. 5 is a prime number, keep that. And then 25, I can write it 5 times 5. And then 5 is a prime number, and 5 is a prime number. So when I write 125 cube root of that, I can write it cube root 5 times 5 times 5. But when you find the cube root, you're kind of like looking the pair of 3. So I see the pair of 3, then I just take one of them. But if it is a square root, I take the pair of 2. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. All right, good. So that's what we're looking at. Cube root means like that. Okay. Next, let's try another question. Since you guys understand that one, how about another question? 4th root of 81. Go ahead and try the prime factorization. Let's see what you can get out of that. Then I'm going to give you a tip to answer these questions.
Can you explain again how to do the prime factor thing?
Yes, I will go over. Let them try. You kind of like a break it down. Okay. Okay, you guys continue, Avya and Bhavishya, and I will explain slow quickly. So prime factorization means, let's say 12, right? 12 is not a prime number. Okay. So what you do is you break it down. 3 times 4. And then 3 is a prime. I don't need to worry about it. And then 2 times 2. Also we can write like that. And these are the prime numbers. Okay. That's what this means, prime factorization means. Now go with 81 and then break it down. Yeah, Bhavishya.
I got 3. 3 to the 4th power.
Excellent. That's good. That is right. Okay, let's get a second and then let's try that. And then we will get through that. Since Bhavishya, you did that one already, I want you to work on these questions. In the meantime, I'll catch up with them. Let me.
I got 3 too.
You got the 3 too? Excellent. Good job. All right. So we're going to go over that question one more time. Let's do that. That way you can get a good idea on this one, and then we can work on these questions. But let's pay attention to the 4th root of 81. So we get a good idea on this. So the 81 is there. Definitely I can write a 81. Slok, tell me, how can I break it down 81? What times what gives you 81?
9 times 9.
9 times 9. Okay. And then, but 9, I can still break it down 3 times 3. 3 times 3. So basically, 4th root 81, I can write a 4th root 3 to the 4th exponent. So I see that I have a 4th root, but I have the 4 numbers like pairs. So my answer is just 1, 3. Okay, that's where it is. Okay, let's go try the next question when you have a fractions. And then I'm gonna go.
I'm kind of confused for the fraction ones, but is 2a 2 ninths?
2 ninths, that's it. You kind of like take the fractions square root individually and then put it back.
Okay.
That's good. Thank you for asking. So the 4 ninths, you can do this. Basically, 4 I can write it 2 times 2. The 9 I can write it 3 times 3. So your answer is, since it is square root, you take 1, 2, and then 1, 3. So that's 2/3. Okay? So let's go try the letter B, 1/8. What could be the cube root of that? Cube root means we have to have a pair of 3. Okay, all right. Bhavisha, what do you got for 2B?
A half.
That's right. So since the cube root 1/8, 1/8 I can write it 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Okay, so its cube root of that is 1/2. Does that make sense? Good. All right. Okay, so that's a basic idea behind this cube roots and square roots. And I want you to try to do some questions also, and then ask me more questions so that way we can go over more of those type of questions. Now let's try another question. Before this one, what I'm going to do, let's do some practice questions so that way we get a good idea. And then we can move on to there's one more topic that I want you to cover today. So let's try some simple questions, practice. It's loading. All right, go ahead and answer these questions. Now let's check with these answers. Okay, Slok, tell me what you got.
Got 8 for number 2.
Yep, is everybody got an 8? Yeah, agree? Nice. Just unmute yourself, please. That way you can just talk easily. Okay, next one. Number 3, Javi?
I got negative 15, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so it's 15 is the square root of 225 is 15, but negative is in front, so it's a negative 15. That's good. Next. Yeah, that is correct. Bhavisha?
For 4, I got 16.
Okay, 16. Does anybody have a different answer for that? Yes, Slok?
Negative 8. I mean 8.
You got 8?
Again. Yes. I said negative 16.
You said negative 16. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's check this one, okay? Now, let's check it quickly. Since it is a cube root, right? You need to have a pair of 3. So, 64, I'm going to take that number. I'm going to break it down. So what times what gives you 64?
8.
8 times 8 is 64. Okay.
8, yeah.
Yeah, but again, we need same numbers, 3 of them, because that's a cube root. So let's break it down 8. What else we can break it down?
4 times 2.
Okay, 4 times 2. And also this 8, 4 times, or 2 times 4. Now I can see I have 1 4, and there's another 4. But when I multiply these two, I can get another 4. Agree? So I can write a cube root of negative 64. I can write a cube root of negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. Do you guys agree with that? Yeah? Because 4 times 4 is 16, 16 times 4 is 64. Or you can write a cube root of negative 4 to the third exponent, which is, your answer is going to be negative 4. Does that make sense?
Okay. That was my original answer.
Oh.
I thought you had to like apply them together or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why we're learning these kind of questions. That way you don't miss any numbers out there. Good work there. I like that. Okay. So if you guys understand this one, let's try find the square roots or cube roots of these numbers. Let's try this. We need to use this. We can use that too. First one, Avi?
I got 11.
11. Yeah, that's right. Because 11 times 11 is 121. You can write 11 square and then square root. So the answer is 11. And Bhavisha?
Negative 10.
Negative 10. That's right. Because 1000, you can write it negative 10 to the third exponent, which is negative 10 times negative 10 times negative 10. But we have a cube root. So that's negative 10. Good word. Slok?
Negative 50.
50. All right. 50 no. Is it 50 times 50? What's that?
Oh, wait. Oh, 50. Wait. I didn't get that. Hold on. Okay. I got negative 10 for this one.
Negative 10. Okay.
Same.
Yeah, because negative 10 times 10 is 100, right?
And there's a negative sign.
Negative sign up front. Make sense? Good? All right. Good. Very good. I like that. Because the next question is a little tricky one. Not the tricky, but again, it's easy only. Let's look at this one. Alrighty. All right. Avi, read the question for me.
The cube root of the volume of a cube gives the length of one side of the cube.
So there's a cube is given to you. They give you the volume also, but you need to find out what's the length of the one side. So cube means, cube, like we write a cube, and then you want to find the side length. What you need to do is you need to find out the cube root. So cube root of that number, then you can get a side length. So for this one, what you need to do is side length is going to be cube root of the volume. All you have to do is cube root of the 343. Okay, so you need to break it down to 343 to equals to 3 same numbers. Like same number you multiply repeatedly 3 times. What number cube is 343? And that will be your answer. So 343 in its it's really hard to find exact factors for this because 2 doesn't go, 3 doesn't go, 4 doesn't go, 5 doesn't go, 6 doesn't go, but 7 goes in there. So 7 times 49, and then 49 we can write it 7 times 7. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you guys a really good information right here. So will help you when you take competitive exams or any tests or anything like that. So I'm going to put this one here. Okay, so this is a number, and this is a cube. So 1 cube is, just tell me, answers for me. 1 cube is? What's a 1 cube?
1.
1. There's 1 times 1 times 1. How about 2 cube?
8.
8, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. How about 3 cube?
20.
That's right, 27. How about 4 cube?
32. 64.
64. Because 4 times 4, 16, 16 times 4. 5 cube?
125.
125. 6 cube? 216. 7 cube? 343 is right there, right? 8 cube, 512. Okay, if you can remember kind of like these numbers, and especially the questions like this will help you this table. But if I don't have that remember of these table, it's hard to find the factors for them. But if I know 343 is cube root of like 7 cube, and that makes it easier for you. Okay, that's 7. 7 is your one side of the cube, so 7 centimeters. But that's for the first one. Now the second question, find the area of the face. Face means what shape is the face? Slope.
The face is the front.
Right. What shape is that?
Square.
Square. So now the area of the face, or the face area, it's going to be area of a square, which is basically 7 times 7, which is 49 centimeters square. And this is centimeters. Okay? So that's why you need to understand out of these questions. And these are the type of questions they ask you on the test. So just to get that information there.
Okay, I'll be back in a second after the restroom.
Sure. There. That's really good. The next one I'm going to go over quickly. The number system. Basically, you guys already learned this one before. Like, as you guys, let me see. Like, you remember, like, natural numbers, whole numbers, integers. That's what we're going to talk quickly. The number systems. Okay, so if you look at this one, I'm going to identify some of those, so that way I can clean this up.
Could you excuse me for a moment? My brother is asking for some mom's now.
Okay, now just look at this one, and let's wait for a minute, so that way we can talk again. Now, when you see this one, basically the number system, okay? So in the number system, what we have here is, first we have natural numbers. Natural numbers means like starting from 1, 2, 3, like counting numbers. Let's say if I give you some, like, couple of candies and ask you to count. You start counting with 1, not 0, right? So that's called natural numbers, starting from 0, 1. Next one is whole numbers. it's including 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, and all those things. And then in time comes and they meet some negative numbers, they added integers. Integers means including negative numbers, positives, and 0. And then lastly, is every number like this we can write as a rational. Rational means fractions and decimals, or repeating decimals, and negative fractions, doesn't matter, all of them. Next one is irrational. Irrational means these numbers, let's say if I find the square root of 2, non-repeating, I'll write it down with this. Non-repeating and non-terminating. So let's talk about it. What does this mean? Non-repeating means it won't repeat. Let's say I'm going to show you some quick example so that way you can get a good idea on this one. Let's see, put this there. Let's see, where is it? Give me a second. So I'm going to pull the calculator quickly. So I want you to look at it carefully. Look at the screen. So in this one, let's say if I find the square root of 2, you see these numbers 1.414235 it doesn't repeat. You see that? That's irrational. But if I take a number, let me clear this. But if I take a number 1 divided by 3, you see that? It's 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. It goes on. It never stops. But this is a rational number. This is a rational, but the before one we see as square root of 2. Square root 2. This is irrational. Okay? Remember that. So
if it's like pi or something, it would be irrational.
Repeat again.
Like like pi, right? Like 3.4.
Right. The pi is irrational. That's right. Pi is irrational. That is true. So those are the numbers. Pi is the irrational number. So irrational numbers. Now let's look at some questions up here. That way you can get a good idea. So 18. What do you guys think? Which one is going to belong to? Is it belongs to natural numbers? Natural numbers?
Yes.
Yes. And what else?
Whole.
Whole numbers. What else?
Integers.
Integers. What else?
Rational.
Rational numbers.
Rational
numbers we can write as a Q. Okay?
I just logged out of the meeting.
Okay. All right. So the next one. So those are the Q is a irrational. So that's good. How about radical 20?
Irrational.
Irrational. Most of the radicals are irrational unless it's a perfect square root. Let's say if I take a 9, what do you think of this?
Rational.
This is irrational because radical 9 is square root of 9 is 3. So the 9 is basically it's a natural number, whole number, integer, and
Question.
What's up?
Say you would have like 7 divided by 3, and it'd be like 3.5, right?
Yeah, that is also
irrational.
That's irrational.
Okay.
That is also Q. Okay, but the irrational is like it won't stop.
Oh. Okay.
It goes on forever and it doesn't repeat.
Yeah, I was just making sure because it's like 5, then 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
So it's when if it repeats, it's irrational. Okay, I'm gonna write it. Repeating It's irrational. It's Q. And non-repeating, non-repeat, and non-terminating, I mean, it never stops. That's irrational. And normally they use a Q and bar on top. Okay, it's a symbol for that. That's irrational. Excellent. That's good. Good notes. Let's see next. So a little bit practice on this, so that way we can get a good idea. There you go. All right, let's look into this question. On your paper, you can just write it down what it is going to belongs to. Just like we did here. Like natural, whole number, integer, rational, irrational. Okay, let's try this one, number 27. What do you think is this? You guys can show it up.
Integer.
Integer, yes.
Whole number.
Whole number, it only starts from 0, okay?
Oh, sorry.
It can be a negative number. It can
Rational.
be rational, yes, that's true. Okay, that's it. That's it, those two. How about this?
Irrational.
Rational, because 1/6 is like repeats when we do this one. Okay, very good, like that.
Wait, should we tell you? Or wait.
What's that?
Should we tell you?
Yeah, go ahead if you got it.
I think it's A. It's A.
Why do you think? Why do you think? That's a good thinking though. That's good. But why? What do you think? Bhavisha?
I think it's because since there's a negative sign.
Ah, good
It's
idea.
also, A is not exactly at -3. It's like around that area.
True.
What I saw also was not only that, I saw what she saw, and also I did what do you call it? Like 6 times 6, right? And then I separated it into 2 times 3 and 2 times 3. That was there. Like, I know this isn't related, but I'm just like, oh, there are 3, so that's the answer.
I like that. That's a really good understanding out there. So I want you to look at it carefully. This is a negative number, right? When we get an answer, you're going to be a negative number. But if you look at it, the B is a 0. It's not negative. C, it's a positive number. It's not negative. D, it's a positive number. So it's only one negative we have is boom, right there. Okay?
I was going to say, like, what if they tricked us and B is actually -0.1?
Then you kind of like you can guess it because you know the table I give it to you. Yeah, that's good questions, right? So when you give a table, you see this cube root is like 27. It's close to 3, but it's 64. Its cube root is 4. But now this is given number is 36. 36 means it should be between 3 and 4. So it should close to the 3 than 4. Make sense? That's how we kind of like estimate those numbers out there. Good to go? Awesome. All right. So that really looks good. We'll stop right here, and I will send you this work to you guys. And next week, we will get some small quiz. Okay?